The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
All right, move over MetaMask. There's a new built-in browser crypto wallet in town. Brave, the crypto-focused web browser, is adding a native wallet to capture some of MetaMask's market share. It will support Solana and all Ethereum virtual machine compatible tokens. Joining us now is Brave CEO Brendan Eich, who is also the creator of JavaScript and co-founder of Mozilla. Welcome, Brendan. Great to have you here. So tell us how this browser works for folks out there who don't know, and how this wallet fits in.
So Brave is a browser that by default blocks tracking and fingerprinting, other threats to your privacy. And we keep working at this because the adversaries who try to trap you keep working against us and other protection systems. And Brave has grown to 44 million, I think, this month coming up, users. And we have a lot of crypto-focused users because we integrated our own basic attention token as an option for users who want to take private ads. We don't learn anything about the user and get 70% of the gross advertising revenue. And then they can send that back anonymously to their favorite YouTube channels and websites and so on. So we have a crypto practice that's quite experienced. And in developing this, we wanted to add the wallet that we've now deployed in desktop that allows users to own their own crypto, to have self-custody of crypto.
And how much has been paid out to users so far? And I guess the idea is to pay users in BAT directly to their native crypto wallet in the Brave browser.
Well, we have a regulatory constraint on that, but we do pay out users every month. You can see that on brave.com/transparency. So we've paid out millions of BAT every month, and we're growing that cohort of users who get paid. But that's an optional user cohort. And with Brave, everything is about the users. So users who want to do their own trading with their own crypto assets can now use the new wallet to do so. And this is a wallet that's built into the browser, so we think it offers greater convenience and security.
Brendan, for this latest project, what made you choose Solana out of all the other blockchains out there?
So I know the founders quite a while now, and we were already working with them. Some of our own employees are using DeFi on Ethereum and Solana, and their testimony was compelling. The fees on Ethereum are just too high, and some of them are doing NFTs as well, where the fees are quite high. Solana is fast and inexpensive, and it has a growing community of DeFi projects and others doing very interesting things. So our approach is multi-chain. We're not picking a winner. We're not saying, goodbye Ethereum, where basic attention token started and still is useful. We're saying, let's add chains, and basic attention token is already available on Solana through the Wormhole bridge, if you've looked at wormholecrypto.com.
So Brendan, first of all, I just want to thank you for JavaScript as somebody who's had to struggle through PHP, and build something through that. So I tip my hat to you. But you're talking about BAT, and it's definitely and Brave, and that's a consumer-centric model. But you're coming up against the likes of Facebook and Google, who have about 80-90% of the advertising market. How do you attract advertisers going against a duopoly like that?
The same way we grew Firefox, or originally Mozilla, from a very small share after Internet Explorer took over the market. That's by appealing to lead users who are always the stubborn minority that can move markets in new directions. And now that means crypto users, it means privacy conscious users who want to shield themselves by default. And those users are off the grid for advertisers. So when we go to advertisers, we have a direct ad sales team for our private ads. They see our users as valuable, crypto savvy, high socioeconomic status, but not available to the tracking superpowers like Google and Facebook. So it's a boutique audience, but it's growing beyond that because the global wave in favor of privacy is still rising.
Nonetheless, I mean, what do you make of DM with the Facebook's attempts at a stablecoin? Do you think that it will eventually
I still call it Libra.
Be a threat? Libra, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, or whatever, Nova. I forgot what they were
Meta, Facebook, Libra,
Meta,
DM.
Yeah. They've gone through more identity changes than a terrorist. What do you think of? What do you think of it in general? Do you think that they're a threat to BAT and to Brave? Do you think they'll succeed with this project?
No, I'm not bullish on that. I think they've had enough troubles just as the shows and the sort of time it's taken because they had some severe critics in the U.S. Congress and the Senate. But more than that, they're not able to give up 70% of the gross revenue to their users. If they did that, it would be materially adverse to their share price, which they're fiduciaries of. So I feel the incumbents, Facebook and Google in particular, or Meta and Google, are kind of stuck on this high mountain they've conquered, and the landscape around them is shifting. And we want to build for the future, the new continent that's rising, and that's based on privacy and crypto. And that's hard for them to do because it means they're going to have to share more revenue. They're going to have to give up the ability to surveil their users. It's got to have a bottom line effect on them.
What do you think will happen to the incumbents in the Web3 revolution, if you will?
Well, first, they're in a bunch of antitrust pain, allegedly. I think also they have innovators' dilemma. They're big companies. I know people who've been there, some of whom have left, and I hear that it's hard to get things done. They still have a lot of resources. They have a lot of big brain power. So I would expect them to try to follow at some point. But we're going to build, and others are building Web3 ahead of them. We're not going to wait, and it has to be open standards based. It can't be, Mark's metaverse. I just don't believe that will work any better than the walled gardens of the 90s prevented Netscape from building the web up to Web 2.
Brendan, you guys obviously have a very impressive number of users, but I'm just curious if you think this is where you want to be right now. I mean, I think the really interesting thing about privacy, right, is that so many people talk about it and they complain about it, but when it comes to actually leaving Facebook or actually, switching browsers, it's really hard to make that jump, And I'm just wondering if that's a challenge that you're really facing, just kind of like customer inertia, right? Because given all the scandals that Facebook has had over the past years, it's kind of amazing how many people still continue to use it. I mean, how big an obstacle is that for you? Just that kind of psychological resistance to actually try something new, even if you do support privacy in theory.
So the tip of our spear looks like a browser which competes with Chrome, Google's browser. So Facebook isn't quite the target, but we do find people getting off Facebook as they see the privacy problems. We saw this move off of WhatsApp.
Google's the same kind of same concept, right?
Google is definitely in our radar because of Chrome. What we've done with Brave is make something that works like Chrome. You can have the same extensions. You can have MetaMask if you like, and you can import all your data and extensions into Brave. You can switch over, or you can try using both browsers and seeing how you like it, and then cut the ties to Chrome. And what drives people to do this in our experience is mainly the sense that their privacy is being raided, but there's also a performance win with Brave. Because we block so many trackers, we save battery and radio or data plan activity or Wi-Fi activity. This means that we load pages faster, we use less memory, and Chrome can't do this. They're off inventing new privacy sandboxes to try to save their business model, but their current model is utterly tied to tracking and surveillance and all these scripts that we block.